Well, good evening, my CNC brothers and sisters. Hey, welcome to another CNC Wednesday evening hangout. And some of you may have noticed, we weren't on last week. I was flying back from Italy the day of the live, and we didn't really plan out a ladies' night, so everyone took kind of a Wednesday night break. Not something we normally do, but that's what ended up happening. And tonight we've got a returning guest. You guys have seen him on here before, Greg from STL Woodworking, a very skilled CNC laser guy, epoxy guy, inlay guy. Put some of my knowledge to shame for sure. So just on those topics, you can ask questions on that, or any general CNC question. We will do our best to handle that. And Greg will share with you some of the equipment he has and works with, so you can ask some questions related to that. And we'll bring him on in just a second. First, I want to say hi to a few people. We got Oscar here and Bill. Bill, the first guy that ever visited me when I started my channel. That was cool. And he moved out to Arizona. By the way, Bill, there's an Arizona trip coming up for us shortly. So I think I should get in touch with you and come out and visit you. We got Michael and Rich and Richard, Tim, Pierre, I like that name, P. Humbert, and Ramdi Welsler. All right. Anyway, there's a bunch of all on here. Way too many people for me to say hello to. So consider this a grand old CNC hello to our CNC brothers and sisters. All right, let's bring on the right now we only have Julianne on board. I don't know if Liberty's going to make it tonight or not, but for those of you who don't know, this is Julianne. She's the administrator for IDC Woodcraft. She keeps my life straight. Without her, IDC Woodcraft would fall apart. Without Liberty, IDC Woodcraft would fall apart. And so the people that are in there behind the scenes, Julianne will be in the background watching for your questions and make sure they get queued. So if you have questions, put a question mark in front of it, and she will make sure that comes to our attention. And also, I guess you guys, they do a random giveaway every Wednesday evening. So they've got something else on the works too. I usually don't know what it is. They just start doing it. And sometimes they shock me with what they're doing. But anyway, anything to announce, Julianne, before we park in the back and bring Greg on?
Not that comes to mind right off.
All right. Okay. Well,
I have to wait for my partner in crime to get here. Yeah, she's run a little late tonight, so.
Right. Yep. And Liberty, we just released a video with her, and I am going to be releasing another video in a couple of days that's going to talk to you about what feeds and speeds are, why they're so important, and the deeper levels of feeds and speeds, so you can understand a little bit more of the engineering concepts behind it. So that'll be that's a fun video that I'm looking forward to release. And then I got 3 or 4 other videos planned and stuff that people have sent to me. It's can you show that on one of your videos? And if it's good company, good product, I do that. So working on all that stuff too. All right, we're gonna park you in the back, Julianne. Watch all those questions, and let's bring Greg out. How are you, Greg? Thanks for coming back on board again.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, last time we had you on board it was when we were down at the Workbench Con, and we did the live with you and Cody.
That's right.
That was a lot of fun.
It was very much.
Yeah, and got to meet up with a lot of creators and a lot of people that are YouTube in our space, both CNC and traditional woodworking. Mm-hmm. So it's very cool. It's so nice to connect with people. In that kind of environment. And we're worried about there's some rumor that they weren't going to be doing it next year, but it looks like that rumor has been squashed and they are going to continue on.
I think they are.
Yeah. So Greg, for those who don't know who you are, why don't you give a quick 5-minute Cliff Note rundown of what you do and what's your skills in this area that we do.
Yeah, so By trade, I'm a paramedic. That's my day job. I oversee education for a large hospital-based ambulance service, of the EMTs and paramedics. That's what I do Monday through Thursday, half a day on Friday sometimes. Evenings, weekends, pretty much between CNC, YouTube, woodworking. I'm building a new shop. I'm not sure how many hours are supposed to be in the day, but somehow I wound up squeezing about 30 out of the day. I don't know how I do it, but yeah, I stay pretty busy doing that stuff. I love it. That's my goal. Just probably like half the people in here. That's my goal, is to do what I want to do every day. I love my job, but I've been doing it a long time. I'd like to hang it up and do woodworking and CNC stuff full time, and YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. So Greg's got a YouTube channel. It's STL Woodworking. We will put that in the comments and in the links or in the description of the video. I definitely want to check out his channel. And by the way, something I've been thinking about is doing in-person classes. So it's just kind of a thought that just came to me again. Now that I've got my shop, so take some setup and stuff. So tell us about some of the areas that, so CNC, what kind of CNC router or routers do you have? Have you worked with?
So I have currently, let's just say I started with the Carbide 3D machine, the Pro version. That was it was, I forget the exact 24 by 33 or something like that. Yeah, the Shipoko machine. I went from that to the 4x4 5 Pro Shipoko machine, and then I just have recently switched again and went to the Onefinity Elite Foreman. And during this whole time I've had my large format Avid CNC. But yeah, so the only one I hadn't messed with was the alt mill. Not yet anyway, but yeah, I had a great time with all the machines. It's interesting learning the nuances of each of the different machines. Although they're all CNCs, they've all got their own little quirks and little things that you got to learn about them. So
yeah. And then laser work. You do laser work as well?
I do a little bit. I don't do as much laser work. I've used the X-Tool D1 for some time on smaller projects. I've recently, in the last 5 months or so, gotten the X-Tool F1 Ultra, which is a fiber laser. Totally different ball game, but yeah, it's pretty neat. I am looking at putting a laser once I get the new shop built. I'll have more room. I'm looking at doing something quite a bit larger for the laser. So that'll be fun.
Okay. All right. And then what's the softwares that you've worked with? Design software, control software?
So mainly, I started with Carbide Create because I had the Shipeko machine. So I learned on that, but pretty quickly went to VCarve, and I've been with VCarve pretty much the entire time. I also have Carveco. So I'm trying to learn Carveco in and out, but when you're used to one software, it's difficult to learn another software when you're trying to get stuff done, because you're like, dang it, let me go hit this one because I know what to do. So, but I'm trying to learn it because I'd like to be able to help people with both, but I refer them to, the Carveco guys or Hamilton or somebody like that if somebody's got questions about Carveco, because I'm not that great at it.
Gotcha. And then you do quite a bit of inlay work as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. I hadn't done a lot of it in recent, but yes, I love doing inlays. They are so pretty.
Yeah. And then of course epoxy.
Yeah,
so folks, you got a large brain there to tap into. He's gotten involved in more stuff than I've gotten involved in. Yeah. So anyway, and sometime in the next few weeks, I'm going to be heading down to Arizona to go visit Cody, the Jenny Bit guy. IDC Woodcraft does carry the Jenny Bits as well as its own brand. And I want to go down there and do some footage on how CNC bits are made to educate on that. And then we'll go over to the coating shop and they'll teach us about that as well, how we get the zirconium carbon nitride coating on things. So let's just dive into some questions and let's see what's going on. So first, I'm going to handle this one from GRBL Woodworking. So he said, Garrett, how was your vacation? So, folks, I went to Italy for 5 days, 7 days technically. 2 of those days were traveling, of course. And Italy we went to Rome, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. The size of the structures there, the old structures, the Pantheon, and the Vatican was very cool. Gosh, it's just, yeah, you look at the architecture there and you think, what those people, how do those people do that compared to our cheesy architecture we use today? It's so fascinating how much work has gone into that stuff. Very refreshing vacation. Gave me some opportunity to reset, which I really very much needed. I felt kind of flatlined over the last year, and I want to make some advancements. As an entrepreneur, if you're not growing, you're dying, basically. And so I wanted to get back in the growth mode. All right, so we got Bill. He says he'd like to ask a question about VCarve Pro or VCarve Desktop, which is good for someone that's got very little experience. Yeah, Greg, you can handle that. I could answer that. We all could answer that, but go ahead.
I'll throw my opinion in. I'm not familiar with desktop, only with Pro, but I'm always buy once, cry once. If you're going to go into it, just go ahead and get the Pro. And
yeah. So desktop is not much different. The difference is that it only allows you to generate G code for projects up to 24 inches by 24 inches. So if you have a machine like mine back here, the alt mill, this guy right there, which is a 4x4, or anything bigger than 24 by 24, then that software is going to limit you onto what you can make. A 24-inch project seems like it's a good sized project, but once you get into the machining, sometimes you want to get bigger and bigger projects. So I prefer the VCarve Pro. What gadgets is not in the desktop version, and a couple other minor differences, but the big one is that that size difference. So VCarve Pro lets you design up to any size you want. And
is the inlay feature in desktop?
What's that?
Is the inlay feature in desktop?
I don't know.
Not on either. So
I know there's yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. It's a question for Kyle. But yeah, I would say, try once, and go for that, depending on your machine. If you've got a 24 by 24 and smaller machine, just go for the desktop. All right, you don't need to spend the extra $300 for the larger one. The good thing is they allow you, if you go upgrade, you're only paying the difference in the price for a certain amount of time. And the other thing I would say is practice, and watch some videos. Julianne, just for Bill, that video I just released about a month ago, the Vectric Ultimate Beginner's Guide. Link that in the comments and in the description of the video. I do recommend you watch this 2-hour video, but it'll walk you completely through a project and teach you all the basic tools you need to know. And by the time you're done, you will have a design done. So it's more of a practical training. All right, moving on. And by the way, being that new, welcome to the family. Welcome to CNC. It's always great to see someone new come on board. Johnny, do you price by completed wood or rough wood?
I price by rough wood because you're always going to have waste no matter what you're doing. So when I price by whatever it's going to take for me to create the panel I'm carving out and whatever labor runtime on the CNC is going to be. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. I don't make many projects to sell. So, yeah, but I would do the same thing. If it's going to be waste, but you have to use it, then by all means, charge for it. This comes from Joey. What's going on there, Joey? Did I consider making the Badger with a quarter and shank, or is it not a good idea? It would be nice to not have the collet change. I agree. So the Badger what the type of bit he's talking about, for those that don't know, there's the roughing style bits that we provide from IDC Woodcraft that's designed to remove a lot of material very quickly and spare your standard upcut and downcut bits. And so we have in 1/8, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, and 1/2 inch, and we have standard lengths and long lengths. And so the one he's talking about is the 1/8 inch. So Joey, I may talk to my tooling company about doing that, about coming up with a 1/4 inch shank. What I worry about on that is all those little cuts in that creates a weak point. And when we add that taper into a bit like that, there's also a known weak point by virtue of that too. So we're actually doubling our weak points, but we can stop the serrations at a certain point. Make a note on that, Julianne. We'll take a look at that. She's already got it. She knows to make notes on that. So first time I've thought about it, but it's worthy to think about because I am considering some other tooling that's the smaller diameter cutting and making them with 1/4 inch shanks. All right, Terry from Doggone Productions, looking for a recommendation for best bits to engrave and cut brass. You got any input on that?
I don't. I don't do anything with brass currently.
Okay, so brass is a soft metal and it's easy to cut, and it chips out quite nicely. So the thing that you want to do with brass, generally, the type of end mill you want to use is always an upcut end mill. And anytime you're cutting metal, you generally want to use an upcut tool. You want to draw the forces into the tool, in towards the spindle. If you're using a downcut, believe it or not, you're creating there's a pressure created, lots of dynamics when it comes to cutting materials. And believe it or not, your spiral actually creates an upward or downward pressure too. And so that upward pressure actually, it's holding the tool down while the machine is kind of working against it. If you're using a down cutter, you're creating kind of a counter pressure on the machine. And you're packing metal. If you're cutting slots, you're packing metal down in the bottom of the slot. You don't want to do that.
It's trying to recut it. That makes it even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as if you want to do like irons, then for the V-bits, you generally, I've never used the knife blade V-bits from IDC Woodcraft or any knife blade V-bit on brass. I would recommend a flat blade. So those are your two main points that I would throw out there for you. All right, Lynn. Hi, Lynn. What do you do when you get in a maker slump?
Want me to answer that one? I have a good answer. And I suggest this to anybody. No joke. It's going to sound funny. Go to Hobby Lobby. Go to Hobby Lobby and look around.
Yep, there's so much stuff at Hobby Lobby. It's not funny. The other thing to do is when you're in a slump, sometimes we need something to inspire us. Like I said at the beginning of this show, I had been kind of in a slump over the last year. It's like I'm just tired of being in that. It doesn't feel good. And so get around people that are going to inspire you in the community. Right here. You're going to go to a challenge. Find someone who's putting up a challenge and be challenged. I like it when people challenge me to do things. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we're going to be on Andy Bird's live show. And I think it's 7. Is that right, Julianne? Yep, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be on a live show with Andy. And I was told today I had to whip up a project really quick. So it totally threw off my day for this show. But anyway, I imagine the link for that will be put in here, but we'll send out an email as well. We need something to inspire ourselves. Another thing I do is I step away, literally step away from the bad feeling. Say, okay, I don't have to sit here and try to figure this out. Let's just go take a day's vacation and go do something else, and let your just I don't know. You're just kind of letting yourself take a mental break. Any other suggestions? By all means, put them in the comments to how you've managed to get yourself out of a slump. Here's another one. Think about somebody you care about that you'd like to leave a legacy gift and create a legacy gift. All right. So I created a card holder for my niece Isabel. That was very much inspired once I got moving. But the other thing is just start making something that should start getting you rolling too. Ron is saying, when working with epoxy, what is the best way to seal the wood to prevent bleeding?
So a couple of different things. I mean, you can use epoxy to seal the wood, which is what I typically do when I'm doing live edge. When I'm doing a carve, a VCarve that I'm going to backfill with epoxy, I usually just use shellac. It's really quick, and it's just a spray rattle can shellac, and it does a good job at sealing the wood, and I don't get any bleed through. But if I'm doing a live edge or something, I prefer to wipe it on, mainly because with that, I'm going to come back and pour a deep pour over top of it, and I don't even let that cure. I've already got that planned out where I'll come back and pour my deep pour when my wiped on seal is tacky. So.
Okay. I don't do epoxy projects, so I couldn't answer that. I want to show you, first of all, oh, by the way, folks, I don't know if we've mentioned it once in a while, but we are coming up with a brand new style CNC router bit that folks are going to be wanting. Not telling you what it is yet. We've had a good 8 months into it now, in the design and what have you, but we've got the product done, and now is basically our back-end technical work. And we are doing a giveaway here at some point when the ladies feel like it. This is the legacy project that I created for my niece, Isabel. Because of brain cancer, one of her hands doesn't work, and our family plays lots of games. And so I made a game piece and card holder for her, and it's got text on it. It says, live, laugh, love, and play games. It's got some raised 2.5D reliefs on it. This was a fun project. I still need to do a video on this. I think did we make this design available?
I think you did something with it.
I did. Julianne, if you want the code, the G code and design to this, Julianne will put oh, she's dancing. Wait a minute. I got to bring her on.
I just already did it as you were saying it, and I'm back here like, oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So there you go. So here's your inspired project. This will challenge you. It's a very detailed project. So there you go. And that video, by the time you're done with that video, that one I was talking about, learning the Vectric software, that 2-hour video, this is the project you'll have. It's a welcome sign. And you'll be able to personalize it while you're designing it. So that training Vectric 101 video, you walk through it. It's very practical. Okay, let's see. So Tim says, just received a red line spindle for the Onefinity CNC. Anything I should know before installing? Greg, You got a Onefinity?
I do, and I have the red line spindle as well. No, it's plug and play. It zero issues. It plugs right in, and then it works great.
Yeah, you're gonna love having a spindle if you were with it working a trim router. Once you go spindle, you won't go back. No, you will not go back. You will dread if you have to go back to a trim router. We also have the PWN spindle, which is also plug and play. So if you are using a trim router, you definitely want to look into spindles. It's one of those things you don't really know until you have it. And then it's like, oh my God, why didn't I know this? Why didn't I do this sooner? All right. So Chris TW has a question for discussion. Thoughts on starting a YouTube channel for CNC router?
You want to answer that, or you want me to?
So
because I'm a little different because I'm not specifically CNC where Garrett is. Just know that when you do start that, you're going to have, and I've had this discussion with several friends that are on YouTube and some quite large channels. CNC is a niche. You need to know what you're wanting to do with the YouTube side of it. If you're wanting to grow your channel to be hundreds of thousands of subscribers, you're not going to do it with a CNC channel. There's just not enough of us out there that unfortunately like CNC. But yeah, I think it's great. I love doing CNC stuff on YouTube. I know Garrett does for sure.
Yeah. If one of the things doing a YouTube channel, number one, for anyone out there, this is my philosophy. If you have some knowledge, share it. All right. I've got another channel out there, and that other channel is if I have some kind of oddball issue I'm trying to solve that's not CNC related, and I solve it, I will shoot a video on it. If I'm searching it out, I'm generally finding other people to search that are searching the same problem. And once I get it identified, I just shoot a video and I put it on my other channel. And those videos get 20, 30, 40,000 views. I just repaired my girlfriend's washing machine. I was like, why didn't we do a video on this? Right? Specific washing machine, but why didn't we do a video on it? All right, it'd be so easy. But I will say that if you want to turn it into something where you can generate revenue on, as far as generating a business, then you have to be consistent. You need to know your angle that you're going after, and usually you want it to be something that you're passionate about. Sometimes you're not really sure, but eventually you fall into it. Like me, I'm a teacher. I don't make a lot of projects, but I know CNC machines and I understand the dynamics of them. That comes from my engineering background and my CNC days. So stay consistent. Don't try to be perfect, but try to just tap into the things that you know people are struggling with. The more you can solve a problem, the better you're going to do.
I know it's hard work. It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it really is. But you know what? Go for it. Go for it. You need 1,000 subscribers before you can have ads put on your thing. With 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 view hours in a year, which is not that hard to do as long as you're giving content. And just always think about remember you're shooting for someone else, right? So think about the person that is watching the video. And I always say, remember, you're only talking to one person on the other side. So when people say, hey guys, welcome to this video, right? It's just me watching the video. Talk to me. So you will almost never hear me say guys or everyone. All right. Richard is saying, when I had load of file to carve, I get a notice. File not referred to, center, press OK to run without virtual 0. Why? Richard, what software are you using? I've never seen that alert before.
I haven't either.
Yeah. Richard, put in the comments what software you're using, and Julianne will watch for that, and then she'll pop that up. All right. Cootie Builds. Oops. So, Greg, other than your YouTube channel, what communities are you a part of that helps the woodworking community start their small business?
A couple of them. One I know we talked about on here before, CNC with me, is one where we talk. That's specifically CNC. That's with Hamilton. Garrett's familiar with that one. The other one I'm a coach in, and that's with Matt from 731 Woodworks, and that's called Sawdust Startups, and that's our main focus of that group is to help people start up and get successful with small businesses, woodworking businesses. So
yeah, I didn't know Matt did that.
Yeah, it's something he came up with a little while back. He got me in as a coach towards the beginning, and we've been doing it ever since. And we've seen a lot of success. It's been great for a lot of people. We've got some really good success stories out of it.
Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, we got Hamilton from CNC with me. Andy Bird, he teaches. Ryan from Cutting It Close, he's got a lot of experience with Etsy and has done very well on Etsy. So, yeah, I would start probably with CNC with me. All right. Or which one would you recommend? I mean, I've talked to all. We've had them all on here on the live.
Yeah, I guess it really depends. If you're strictly CNC, probably CNC with me is a pretty good place to start. If you're just general woodworking as well as CNC, sawdust would probably be my go-to. We cover a lot of stuff in there, including Etsy, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube, and just a lot. So yeah, those would be my first two.
Yeah. And here's a way I want you to think about this Cootie builds. Codic builds. Okay.
Chaotic.
Chaotic. The monitor I'm using is like a low resolution monitor, so it doesn't quite show. I gotta update it, but it's got nice speakers on it. I would not use the term small business. Get the idea of the small out of your mind, and you go with just to start a business, right? Successful business. Think of the term successful. All right, so Jared, he says, did you gather any inspiration ideas for carves while on vacation? I did. The architecture out there does give you an entirely different perspective. What it really did for me was, how can I make a better business out of IDC Woodcraft to provide better, more streamlined resources for the CNC community. And actually, when you're talking about business is one of them, because a lot of people want to get into business. I understand the business mindset. I got mentored, and IDC Woodcraft is very successful now. But it takes. So I don't know. I'm thinking of that. Working on. It's time to take IDC Woodcraft to a new level, right? And the new level is to be provide even more resources for folks, but not so much project-wise. So I got too much stuff sitting out here. Like Jace from Airweights will send me a thing. Hey, Garrett, we got this new vacuum table. And he'll send it to me. It's like, geez, I've had this thing sitting here for 2 months. I got to shoot a video on this to show people this awesome thing. I got the Rotary here that I've had for 6 months. And we got Liberty getting, well, she's pretty much on her own now. She's got this figured out, so I don't have to train her up much anymore. She knows about Vectric in ways I don't know now. She's getting good.
She's doing really good.
Yeah. So Mike is saying recommendations for a 1/8 bit and cuts. It cuts more than 1 inch deep. Run, Forrest, run.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. I am looking at one, considering that. It gets a little nerve-wracking because you've got to, when you're using a bit that long, you have to really dump down your feeds and your speeds. Your chip loads go way down. And you want to do a lot of your clearing from shorter bits, and then you transfer over to that larger bit. I am looking at that with a longer 1/8 bit. I get a lot of special requests for long 1/8, extra long 1/4 inch. Sometimes people want 5-inch cutting length on a 1/4 inch, and there is a there's a ratio of diameter over length where you start coming to a point of it's almost useless. You're almost coming to a point of guaranteeing breaking the bit, or you're going to be running that thing for a very long time, just shaving the material off. Really,
it will break.
Yeah. All right. Todd is saying, when it comes to inlays, what is the difference when using a VCarve bit versus a straight bit?
Exactly that. One is an angled cut where the inlay seats in, where if you're just cutting an inlay, like a, I don't know, a puzzle piece or a name or something, it's going to go in. It's not going to seat the same, and you're not going to get as, in my opinion, as good of an inlay with a straight inlay as opposed to a VCarve inlay. I just don't think they're as sturdy.
You can get more gap or what?
Yeah, you got more glue surface area, and you don't have to worry about tolerance, because it is actually going down into the inlay as opposed to trying to make it. You're never, I won't say you're never, so hard to get a straight inlay perfect with no tolerance for it to get in, and you got glue. You're going to have a gap. You're going to wind up with a gap. Or with a VCarve inlay, you've got no gap because the whole entire sides is your glue area, so you're not going to have any gap at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I've done is the VCarve inlays, and I would not fiddle with a straight inlay. I mean, the machine I have is good enough to do it, but why when I know that I can? The VCarves they just work. I know it's going to work.
The one thing I suggest for the straight inlays, what's really cool, if you want to do like somebody's name, like a kid's name on a like an early childhood thing, like you can carve their name, the inlay into a project, say maple, and then carve out the male pieces in walnut. That way the kid can arrange their name or something in there and they fit kind of like a puzzle. That's kind of cool. But yeah.
Yep. Okay. Don saying a lot of rotary systems have been coming out lately. Any plans for specialty bits for rotary? Yeah. So the bits I will be coming out with, as a matter of fact, Julianne, please make a note of this. So we're going to come out with longer taper ball nose. That's what we really need to have on there. And I may come out with long taper balls to have a flat bottom on it. I'm not sure yet. I got to talk to some people that work at the Rotary. You got a Rotary, Greg?
I do.
Yeah. Have you worked with it a lot?
I haven't.
Okay. All right. Yep. I'll talk to, but yeah, I'm definitely be coming out with some other tooling. Right now our focus is on that one bit that's going to be coming out, I guess about 2 more months. Lots of work on that thing. Lots of work on that thing. So, Julianne, I'm going to bring you on board. I just want to share with folks what does it take to bring a new product on board?
A whole lot of stuff. Gosh, starting from the concept idea to getting it to the tooling company, going through the beta renditions to get it exactly right, branding, if we decide to go with that, which we are.
Oh, it's a very specialty bit. That's
yeah.
Elite. Greg knows what it is. Greg has helped us with that, so you know,
love it.
Yeah.
It is definitely a lot. Packaging, inventory, just it's a whole culmination of stuff.
We've been at this
for a very long time.
We've been at this for what, 8 months now?
Yeah,
just about.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So, and we still have a little ways to go, but we're starting to get close, starting to see a little light at the end of the tunnel there.
Working on the trademarking now, so fun
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, this bit's that different that it actually has its own trademark.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, thanks, Julianne. All right, Phil says I did a recent STL carve and used a ball tapered V-bits, but on wood, not brass. Now, help me understand ball V-bits versus regular down cut. So he's talking about taper ball nose.
Yeah, they're just for a smoother. That's going to be your go-to bits when you're doing 3D carvings, stuff like that. They just leave a very, very smooth surface because they are tapered and they are a ball nose.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring that actually up on the website so I can show. I almost bumped myself out of the stream. That wouldn't have been cool.
Don't do that. Well, leave me
Yeah.
hanging.
Yeah, you would have been on your own. Julianne would have had to jump on board. I got to bring up the website and we'll talk a little bit more about this. So I'm hoping that this will show. Let's share screen. We'll do that screen share. And the question goes, steel carve used ball tipped. Okay, so what you're talking about, this is the IDC Woodcraft website. And we need to go to our 3D carving category, which is, well, my eyes are bugged out bad.
Third up from the bottom.
I had a shot in my eye at the beginning of the week, and it's like totally messed me up. So I've got 3D carving here, and I'm going to just expand the size of the screen. All right, so we got like this set right here. So these are tapered ball nose, and tapered ball nose are designed to do. It's a V bit, but it's got the radius on it. These work exceptionally well for your 2.5 relief carves, your 3D carves, because they got a fine rounded edge on it. And on top of that, it's got the taper on it, which helps keep the tip very rigid. And it just makes for a nice clean cut when you're doing these 3D carves. You can do a 3D carve with a standard ball nose bit as well, like a 1/8 or 1/4 inch. And if you're starting to do really large 3D carves, then let me pop this back out. If you're doing really large 3D carves, these type of bits you don't want to stay away from. You want to start using a 1/4 inch ball nose, right? Maybe even a 3/8 ball nose, which we need to get in-house as well.
Yep. I'm doing a big door for my niece's wedding, and the whole door is going to be 3D carved, and I'm using a 3/8 inch.
Cool. So, yeah, when you're doing the 3Ds, those are the bits to use. Yeah, there's more stuff I got to put on the more inventory I got to get. always growing tooling. So I was talking to a guy the other day. They do ice carving, right? Like what Carveco did with their ice thing at the ice sculpture.
Yep.
And they CNC ice sculptures. And so we sent one of the rippers over to them, the long 1/2 inch ripper, which is pretty aggressive bit. I'll show you all what that is. We will go back to our roughing tooling. And we've got, where's the ripper? Okay, the deep ripper right there. This is a 4 inch flute length, something like that, 1/2 inch tool. And they ran this on their CNC machine to carve out the ice, and they said it was a total world of difference. And now they're asking for one with a 5 inch flute length, 8 inch tool, and he wants a 7/8 diameter tool.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're getting one of those. Again, we're working on that design right now. But yeah, just another avenue to get into. If I can get into the ice carving world and have specialty bits for ice carving, there you go.
That's cool.
Yeah, he said their byproduct is not sawdust. The byproduct is snow.
Good point.
Yep. All right, Jay is saying when using the 1/8 inch pointed roundover bit, how do you keep from getting the small edge at the point? Do you use a 1/8 pointed or a 1/4 inch pointed for your roundovers? No. So what I do personally, Jay, so what Jay is talking about is I'll share screen again so folks know exactly what we're talking about. And all these bits, as I bring them up, they will be linked in the comments, and we will have them in the description of the video. So we were talking to the roundover bits, which these add very nice elegance to your project. It takes that sharp corner and it just takes it to another level for some reason. It softens it down, whatever. On the 1/8 pointed roundover bit, so there's the 1/8 pointed roundover bit. when you cut, that point is right on the edge of that line, and it actually leaves a little bit of line in that cut, just a very small line that you normally have to sand out. So what I'll do is I will do an offset line in my design. And so whatever path I want it to follow, I create a new layer on my design. And then I'll offset that line by a 0.005 to the side that thing is going to cut. And then I'll have a profile on that line there. The other way you can do it is a profile offset. I don't like to use the offset. So when you're in the profile toolpath in your software, I guess I should show people. I have to end this screen share and share new screen. And we'll go to that. Okay. All right. Let's just create a circle real quick, and we're going to close that. I'm going to go over to toolpath, and we're going to do a profile toolpath. It is okay. So when you are doing on the line, okay, on the line you can't do an allowance offset, but when you're doing inside the line or outside the line, there's a field right underneath there that says you can do an offset on that tool. You can nudge it in or closer to the vector or further away from the vector by a certain whatever you plug into that. What I do is, let me get out of this, close that, go over here. I've got that selected. I will go to the offset and layout command. For whatever software you have, you'll have a tool in there where you should be able to offset that line. I'll select that, and I'm going to profile that around, and then it's going to be a puck, a round puck when it's done. I'm going to set the offset to the outside, and I'm going to set my distance to maybe 0.005. And what that's going to do when I apply that, it's going to create a new line. When you zoom in, you can see that new line is right there. And that will be the toolpath line. Even though this is the inside line is the actual profile line that the cutout is going to be, the radius tool is going to be offset by 0.05. And that will get rid of that step. Does that sound about right, Greg?
That sounds right. Yeah. I've done it a couple of times. I don't use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a good toolpath.
Okay. And Steve is saying he's run into a situation where he needs to surface from the top to the bottom instead of the bottom to the top. How do I get Vectric to reverse the surfacing direction? Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's changing your start points, I think.
Yeah, so it's top to the bottom instead of bottom to the top. Okay.
I think he's talking about the front of the machine to the back of the machine. If that's the way I'm reading it.
Yeah, Vectric will. So there's a couple ways to surface a project. First of all, one is to create a box around a project and do a profile, or not a pocketing pass on there, a very shallow pocket. The other way is you can draw multiple lines. And so I'm interpreting this as if he wants to do the same direction each time. Is that the way you interpret that?
No, I don't know. I'm a little confused. I'm thinking he's looking at it top, bottom of the.
Yeah.
Maybe he's wanting to go from one side to the other, where he probably just wants to change his start point of where the program actually starts from one side to the other.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what he's talking about. So I'm going to take a guess because I've had that same issue myself. And it's like, why I want it to start at a different spot. So I'm just going to say, I got the piece of material here and I want to surface it. There. So I create a rectangle around a project like that, and I do it a specific size. And if we go over to toolpath, I'll set up a profile toolpath, and I'll get my surfacing bit. So we will use the IDC Woodcraft 1.5 inch ultra smooth surfacing bit. And go find it. By the way, folks, if you have the Vectric software and you haven't gotten the database, you can get the database from IDC Woodcraft, and all our CNC router bits are populated into it. And you can use those feeds and speeds for virtually any CNC router bit. They are conservative.
Garrett, he's saying the datum point in the center.
Saying what?
Datum point in the center.
One more time.
He typed in there datum point in the center.
Oh, yeah, I've got my datum point in the center. Well, with a profile, right? When I'm doing a pocketing, I'm going to do raster. He has his datum point at a corner, or
He's saying in the center is what he's saying.
Okay. To me, it doesn't really matter.
No, it shouldn't matter on the datum point. Depends on where you're going to start the card.
Yeah, but before I actually create that toolpath, I want to see what the start point is. So the way to tell where that router bit would technically start on your vector is you can select the vector and hit the end button, and you look for the green node, which is right here. And so I suspect if I tell this thing to do a raster cut side to side, it's going to start, it's going to come over to the lower right corner is what I think it's going to do. So that's what I tend to notice. And let me go back in and get that because I can't set the whole toolpath. Select. And we're going to set it on raster and calculate. Okay, so that's what it's doing. It's coming to the lower right corner. Now I'm going to switch that. I'm going to go back to node and I'm going to change my start point to the upper right. So when you go into node mode, if you want to change the start point of a vector, you can hover over that node and hit the P button, and that changes that one to the green vector or the start vector. And now we're going to recalculate that and see if it changes it. It didn't change it. I don't know. I'm not really sure. It's like Vectric loves that lower left corner.
That would be a Kyle question.
Yeah, that would be a Kyle question. Kyle from Learn Your CNC. If you're new to Vectric and you're trying to learn all this on YouTube, I definitely recommend you get into Kyle's course from Learn Your CNC. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is a situation I run into too. So I was just trying something real quick. Tony is saying, just put the long mill 48 by 30 together. Good job. All right, new CNC router owner. Let's see. Would I recommend putting the inductive sensors on it or not? So what you're doing is you're giving yourself the option of having a homing sequence or not. What do you say, Greg? What are your thoughts?
I like having a homing sequence. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. I like it because the machine has a fixed reference from a location. It might be a little, yeah, it's just a little another level of knowing something about your machine. You can run it without it. If you're going to do just hobby work and kind of hit and miss stuff, then then you don't necessarily need it. But if you are planning on doing things on a routine, regular basis, and especially if you want to start punching things out that you might want to sell, I would definitely get those homing sensors on there.
Yeah. I just see problems not having them.
There you go. Okay. So my preference is having them, and Greg's is definitely having them. So I would lean towards getting them put on there. So, folks, we do have a giveaway coming up at some point tonight, and I don't know when, but we got it coming. Whenever Julianne decides, Liberty is not on board tonight. So, all right. So, P. Humbert says, what do you recommend for bull bits, diameter and radius? Also, I've heard stories of bent shanks are 3/8 or ½ inch shanks worth the additional cost? What's your thoughts?
Short answer is yes. Depending on what you're doing and what kind of speed you're running. For me, if I'm doing a production run, yes, they are worth it because I can run that ½ inch bit way faster, way deeper than I can a 1/4 inch bit. So in that regard, time is money. It saves me time. It's worth the cost of the bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the deal on bent shanks, and it does happen on occasion. It usually happens when people are hanging the bit out too far. And I'm going to get my little standard here. If I can find this guy. I don't like to see when those wide body bits are hanging out really far because you are putting yourself in a position of possibly bending the bit, breaking the bit, because those wide body bits, there's a lot of force going on those things, and there's not as much shank holding it. So as Greg said, yes, I would go with the bigger ones, but that's why I came up with this chart right there. Right, this tells you these standards you should operate by when you're inserting bits and what you shouldn't do into your collet. So, and it talks about wide body bits right there and tells you how to insert those into your machine. We are considering having solid carbide bull bits, but that's quite a bit more expensive too. Yeah, the bigger the better. They're definitely stronger if your machine can handle it.
Yeah.
Daniel says, what's the maximum practical thickness for an epoxy fill? Do you recommend any brands of epoxy? What is the shelf life of unmixed epoxy? The answer of any of these questions is appreciated.
I lagged out. I don't know if it was me or if it was all of us.
Mm-hmm. So this is for you, Greg.
All right. Sorry. I everything froze up on me for just a second. I'm back now, I think. What is the maximum practical thickness for an epoxy fill? Do you recommend any brands of epoxy? What is the shelf life? So the maximum thickness completely depends on which epoxy you're using. If you're using a tabletop epoxy, and this goes for any brand, my preferred brand is a Super Clear. That's all I use exclusively. But for a 1/4 inch tabletop, you're going to go up to a 1/4 inch. That's all you need to do with tabletop epoxy. Same with art resin. If you want to go any deeper, you're going to have to go with a deeper pour. Most of your deep pours require a minimum of a ½ inch. Super Clear can actually pour up to 4 inches in one single pour. Understand if you do attempt something like that, you need to have some kind of cooling fans on it or something like that, because that's a lot of epoxy going in at one time. It'll get pretty hot. Shelf life of unmixed epoxy, usually 6 months to a year, depending on where you're keeping it. If you've got it in a nice dark place, it will last a little longer. If it's exposed to any kind of UV, it's going to yellow. I don't care what epoxy company you go with. All epoxies yellow over time, period. So yeah, I think I answered all those.
Okay. Mark, brother Mark Lindsay's on board here. Sorry, Mark, I didn't see that you were here, but he made a comment about the pocketing toolpath I was talking about. So what he said was for that raster cut, if I wanted to start at a different, from the other side, I just changed the raster angle. So if I'm surfacing the project and I'm rastering it, then I've got the little raster angle box right there, and I can change it to 180, and that will reverse the start direction of it. And so now it just started. It just reversed direction because I changed my raster angle by 180. I did want to just share the other way you can do this. If you want it always to start at one side and come down the other, then what you can do is create a line and do a profile. So I'm just doing a line here, and we're just going to pretend that's my surfacing line. And then I just do an array copy on it. And I'm going to have one row, and we'll just say 10 columns. 10 columns, and that would be, we'll just offset it by 1 inch in the X direction. There you go. And those would be, what's going to happen with this is the router bit is going to start at the top, first line, come all the way down. It's going to pick up and then go to the second line, because the start point of these lines is at the top where that green node is right there. So that's another way you can do that. So I just wanted to jump back to that real quick. So thanks for answering that one question there, Greg, about the epoxy. That's
Absolutely.
all. Yeah. Okay. So 2 towers is DeWalt, DWP 611, a spindle or a trim? 611. I think that's trim router.
I'm not aware of DeWalt making a spindle, so
Yeah, you're right. So that's going to be, that's a trim router. Just called it up real quick. Yeah, DeWalt doesn't make spindles. You're right. So it's a trim router. Makes noise. Makes lots of noise. Ice fishing nut. All right. I have a question. What's the difference in metal milling end mills versus the ones I am selling for wood, besides price? So there's slight geometry differences when you're working with metals. Like the tooth angle. So every cutting edge on a CNC bit, the cutting edge is actually called the tooth. The flute is the pocket in the tooth. I made this really cool cross section. Hang on. Just for a video that I just did about feeds and speeds and talking about chip loads. All right, so you have this kind of cool throwing star thing. So this cutting part of your CNC bit, that's actually called the tooth. The flute is this pocket in here. So this will be a different geometry. It won't be as sharp. It won't be as deep in the flute. Those are some of the things. The tooth angle, the flute angle, that part of the spiral, it may be different. So there's quite a few differences that would be going on there. The big thing is the flute depth. You have much shallower flutes because you want the end mill to be a lot stronger because there's a lot more work in metal cutting. I gotta say thank you to Robert for $20 donation. Thank you, Robert, for it's his way of saying thank you for taking the time to create a video like this where you guys can learn and we can help you become a better creator. And people like Greg giving away 2 hours of his time to help teach as well. So thank you, Robert.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. It is. It's a lot of fun. And then also we have Richard. He threw out $20 as well. Richard, thank you so much, brother. These are when we get these, we put them in a pool, and when the ladies let me, I take them out to dinner, or they buy lunch or something like that. Or if Kimberly's on board, we buy dancing classes because we'll do a happy dance for the new creators that come on board. Like our long mill, the guy that just got the long mill. So cool when somebody does that. Did Richard ever say what software he was using? What is it? Bring that up. So his question was, he had an alarm that says file not reference to center.
He used VCarve.
VCarve. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know. Mark, if you're still on board, maybe you can give some guidance on that. I've never seen that alarm. Mark Lindsay is talking to Mark Lindsay. Mark is a beta tester for Vectric, so he knows some of the inside the software that I don't know. Okay. Echo 904. What makes the spindle so much better than a trim router? You did not specify exactly.
Quiet.
It's quiet.
That's the number one. It is so much quieter.
Yeah.
And more powerful.
Yep. They have more precise bearings. Right. They're designed for. So the trim routers are not designed for the long-term runs that you find on CNC routers, right? They're handheld tools. They're meant to turn on, do a couple things, and turn them back off. All right. Spindles, on the other hand, are designed for that long-term run. And the big difference is the bearings that are in them. But also spindles have a different type of drive, a different type of motor in it. And by virtue of that, it can deliver power more consistently and hold its torque better. So, I mean, when the tool's cutting, it still makes noise, but those trim routers, they're the brush motors, and they just scream.
Yeah, I always tell people the louder of the two on a trim is going to be the motor, as opposed to the bit. On a spindle, the louder of the two is going to be the bit cutting the wood. You won't hear the spindle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So those are some of the reasons. And yeah, I had my first few machines. I had the trim router, and you know, for someone like me, it wears these things. It's not good, right? Of course, I wear hearing protection, but I don't need to wear hearing protection all the time with when I have a spindle, depending on the carve.
Yep.
What's the best spoil board system for a CNC?
I say, for me, MDF, as far as spoil board itself, it does, I think, the least amount of damage to your bits if you go into it, and you don't really have to worry about carving into it. But yeah,
yeah. You want your spoil board to be made out of MDF because it's so soft, right? But it's still sturdy enough. The thing with MDF, though, if you're in a environment that has a lot of humidity change and tends to be high humidity, that MDF will soak that up like a sponge, and that stuff you have to work it a lot. And I've seen people switch over to HDPE.
HDPE.
Yeah.
It's expensive though.
Yeah, it is expensive. It's also very consistent. As far as work holding, there's several methods of work holding too. And if you have a large work table, then Julianne, will you expand that screen share? So that's my my alt mill here, and you see those lines going down the middle there. Those are T-tracks, and those are rails that enable you to run a clamp on and quickly put clamps on and take them back off, and are designed to you slide the clamp into it, and then you can I don't know, it's just quick and efficient. So T-tracks are available at IDC Woodcraft. We just launched them. I redesigned the T-tracks because what I was finding with tracks was there we go. I kicked myself off somehow.
By myself again.
T-tracks. Most of the time, when you buy clamps for T-tracks, they're either coming with 1/4-inch bolts or 5/16 bolts. And what I found is you may buy one size T-track or a T-track, and the 1/4-inch bolt won't work in it because the top of the track is too wide. And then if you get another track, it's narrow and it's designed for a 1/4-inch bolt, and you can't put a 5/16 bolt in it. And they don't tell you. They don't tell you the difference between the two. And so you end up. I did it when I first had tracks on there, so I redesigned the track so it'll accommodate both 5/16 and 1/4-inch bolts. So it doesn't matter what track or what clamp you get. Then there's other CA glue hold down method. There's vacuum table. MDF, make your spoil board out of MDF. But I think that's kind of important to No, if you're working with a large area, you need an alternate way of holding things down. Vacuum, which I'll shoot a video on that too. Ronnie is asking, Garrett, do I have a video on tiling? No, I do not. Mark Lindsay, I believe, has a video on tiling. I don't know why I've not done that. People have asked me about that. Greg, do you have a video on tiling?
I don't. I've talked to a couple of people about it. It's super simple. I don't know why none of us have done a video on tiling.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mark, have you done it? I'm sure Mark has. I'm almost
Surely
certain
he
Mark
has.
Yeah. But who knows? I mean, if we're all holding off on it, then maybe Mark has too. But yeah, I think Mark does. We'll search out his channel. Or
If
Mark.
not, YouTube next week, home screen, tiling with the CNC.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Terry is saying, what was the other router you were discussing other than the Spindle router? Oh, it was trim router. So yeah, the Spindle is I'm going to bring that screen back up. Let's bring this puppy up. Okay, it's clear, so I should be able to bring it up. Hang on. So for those of you who are wondering about this, I'm going to bring this up to the front. And just for sensibility, don't have stuff on your machine like I do when you're moving your machine around like that. I do know what I got there. So, but this is a spindle. This guy's a spindle right here. That's a 80 millimeter, 1.5 kilowatt spindle. And the trim router is going to be generally the Makita or the DeWalt. Sometimes people have the Ryobis, and that's what that is. And the sound difference is insane. And the sound difference is because of the bearings and the type of motor.
Agreed.
All right. WXX, has anyone had issues ordering from China? I tried ordering some electronic components this week. I was told the Chinese logistic company couldn't ship theirs to the USA. Don't know. I'm sure tariffs are making some challenges with China shipments and stuff, but I don't know. Jeff saying, other than replacing his day job income and insurance coverage and store cost, what other items should I look for to go full time with my woodworking? I was a scrapbook and a craft store.
Those are, I mean, the ones, in my opinion, the ones he listed are the biggest ones, believe it or not. Your overhead costs, your insurance. It's really something you got to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you go to hiring people.
Yeah. One of the things, when you're going full time, if you're not comfortable with your financial position, all right, you've got to think, you've got to know those numbers. What do you absolutely have to live by? All right. What is the emergency fund that you're going to have set aside that you don't touch? Right. And then you work into your woodworking. What other items should I look for to go full time? What I will say, Jeff, is find a niche that hits well, right? And it may take a while to find that niche. I am so hoping we can get Kate on board next week. Kate, for those of you who have been on here for a while, you know that this whole live stream started with me mentoring her in business and getting her kind of where she needs to focus herself. And she finally stepped onto something, and it's very nichey, extremely nichey. And she is making these things for a particular industry, a niche industry. And in 1 week, she sold 5 of them for $300 a piece. Right? And it's like, dang. Love to see it. It's super niche. So you want to find, and it's an industry that people spend a lot of money on, particularly the dog show industry, right? So they dump all kinds of money into their dogs,
Yes.
and she found an angle to hit in that industry. Now she's like rocking and rolling, and she's also has done it in such a way that it's basically cookie cutter. She got it set up, and all she has to do is just make them over and over and over again. But we'll get her on soon so we can share about that. Let's see. Okay, so Keith. So just learning Blender to convert 2D JPEG to 3D STL to import into VCarve desktop. Is this correct procedure? Smooth in Blender or VCarve? Do you work with Blender?
I've seen Blender, and I've talked to a couple of people that've used it. I've never personally used it at all.
Yeah, I've never used it either. That comes with being specialized. My specialty is teaching and CNC tooling. All right, so if I do a lot of other stuff, then it gets a little crazy. But Cody, VCarve question: how do you import a picture and turn it into a 2.5D or 3D carving? Do you work with Aspire or do you work with?
I work with. That's what I was about to say. I work with VCarve Pro, so you would have to have Aspire. I'm pretty sure to do that.
Yeah, you have to have the VCarve Pro in order to be able to do that. And I know Mark has VCarve, has Aspire.
Yes.
But he tends to teach more of the basic stuff too, beginners to help all the newer people get sped up. So I don't know if he has any content on that or not. If anybody knows of well, you need Aspire if you're doing it with the Vectric software. All right. Wooden Indian carvings. Is there a way? That's Mike. Okay. Is there a way to have multiple material sizes in one drawing? Maybe using levels of or sheets.
I usually don't work with sheets. Somebody did. Maybe it was Mark was talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
About doing that.
Yeah. So sheets is the way to do it. I can bring mine back up. And let me switch over on my computer. So I got it. So, we had Mark here, and he was sharing that here on this channel. So let me just get rid of that. So I got this first project here, whatever size it is. Now I want to create a new sheet. And I learned this from Mark. This was very cool. So at the top, I just hit the Sheets tab, and I added a new sheet to it. So now I have an identical sheet. The one on the left is the original. The one on the right is the new one that was just created. And below it, it's got the title of the sheet. So it says sheet 1, and over here it says sheet 2. When it copies the sheets, it is a duplicate of the one I copied from. So I can do lots of things with these sheets. So this is the original piece of material, and let's just take a look at the job data on that. So this is 12 inches wide by 4 inches tall by 3/4 of an inch thick. Let's say my second piece is, well, let me switch back here. We'll say my second piece is a different size and it's thinner. So there's multiple ways you can switch sheets. You can do it through the tabs here, but we're going to come into the tabs over to the far left. I'm going to go click the Sheets tab all the way to the left. And there are the two sheets we have right there. And so I can click on sheet 2 to activate that. If I wanted to, no, I guess I have to double click it. There we go. But you can right click over that sheet, click edit, and that's going to bring you up the job screen for that sheet. Now I can change the size of that sheet to 6 inches wide by 2 inches tall. And we'll just say 0.125 thick. and click OK. So now that sheet is a different size and a different thickness. And so you can add as many sheets as you want, and you can also rename the sheets. I guess I know I can do it right here. When I right in that little drop down, I can click twice into it, and then I'll call this main piece. All right, main piece, and then I can click on the second one and change the name on that and turn it into something. So here is an example where I used sheets. And I did it with this project right here, which is a marble maze. And the first sheet was the main stock here, 3/4 of an inch thick Bamex. And the second sheet was the cover, which is 3/16 thick acrylic plexiglass. Okay. Why is the beast listed twice on the tool database? I don't know. I'll take a look at that. Make a note of that, please. We got a lot of stuff to keep up with on here. Lots of stuff to keep up with.
A lot of tools.
It is. And you know, I mean, don't have a large team. We've got the team that the folks know, most people know about is Julianne and Liberty. Then we have Adam, who does the videography. We have Dwayne, who is gearing up. And then we have Richard as the technical guy. Takes care of the website, the phone app. He'll make sure the data is put into the database. We have Cammie, she's a communications person. And we got more people. More people that help us out. D-balls and exotics. When doing a VCarve inlays, do you prefer using a 30-degree V-bit or smaller taper style bit in order to get the most detail and the tightest fit?
If I'm doing really deep inlays, I actually prefer the tapered ball nose. But just with your regular V-carves, I'd say 95% of the time, 60-degree V-bit is going to be your go-to. It's going to be as deep as you're going to want to go with it, and it's going to you're going to be able to get pretty much most detail that you want. If you do want finer detail, then go with a 30-degree.
All right. Fernando, what tools and how many do you recommend in order to sculpt chair legs in order to polish them?
I don't do chairs.
I don't do chairs either, but if you want nice sculpted chair legs, so
I'm assuming he's talking about the Rotary.
Yeah, even if I'm assuming you're using a rotary of some sort, but I would use a ball nose bit
for sure.
Yeah, taper ball or a standard ball. If you want really tight detail on it, then you need to get a tight ball nose, right? But if it doesn't have a lot of detail on it, then you can go with an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch ball nose. I would like to see pictures of what you're doing. Maybe send them to me. At some point we're gonna have a giveaway here. So tomorrow, first of all, folks, I am going to be on Andy Bird's live show, 7 p.m. And I am going to be on the hot seat. And it looks like we got a little challenge that's going to go on as well. So looking forward to that. And Julianne, who do we have next week? Do we have anybody? No? Okay. Well, I'm hoping we can talk Kate into coming next week, or I guess once school's out, we can get Kate on board. But at this point, it looks like it's going to be me. All right. So Chris says, do either me or you know of good resources for learning CNC milling through Autodesk Fusion?
I actually do. Surprisingly, it's not me. But the guys inside the CNC with me, there's a guy named Josh. He actually uses Fusion to do all of his G code and everything for his CNC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you already put a link for that in, Julian, for learn CNC with me? She'll find a link in this, and it'll also be down in the description of the video. And she'll find a link so you guys can go check out the website. She'll put it in the comments. All right, so you may notice on occasion when somebody says drink in the comments, that's because whenever I ask Julianne to do something that's kind of traditional, now thanks to our brother Mark Lindsay, every time I ask Julianne to do something, we have to take a drink. Tonight, I would have been pretty buzzed if I was not drinking water. You'd probably have to become the MC of the show.
I can do it.
Tires. If I wanted to replace the trim router with a spindle, what is a good spindle to buy? So you have redline spindles. You have PWN spindles. I've worked with the PWN company. I've worked with them directly. I talk to them all the time, Daniel. So that's the one I know. Onefinity tends to partner up with Redline, right?
Yep.
Okay. So put PWN's link in, if you haven't already. You go to their website. They have plug and play spindles, and I'll have that down in the description of the video. Yeah, I don't know Redline. I should probably make some contact with them. As a matter of fact, let's make a note on that one too. But I know PWN and very good service on that end. So there'll be a link coming up, and it'll be in the description of the video. Ed is saying, would like clarification. Should you warm up a spindle prior to carving? My understanding is yes.
I mean, I guess it really depends on where you're at. If you're in a super cold environment, I probably would warm it up a little bit. But if you're in a quote normal, I don't know, 60 to 80 degree environment, I don't think there's any need other than the time it's going to spin up for a few seconds before it starts.
Yeah. When I was in CNC metalworking professionally, we did do that. We warmed the machines up for about 5 minutes, but that's because we were dealing with consistent high precision that we needed to maintain throughout the machine. And if there's so much metal as that machine warms up, there's expansion. So we needed to get the machines kind of warmed up. There were sometimes it was cold, we'd run them up for a good half an hour to get everything balanced out. But I'm with Greg on this. When the CNC router, you don't really need to unless you're really cold. All right, Starhawk. Oh, that's a cool name, Starhawk 380. Running a basic 318 CNC with the 75 watt spindle. I get an error when I try to home the machine. Error running candle and easel. So I have not worked with candle. I've not worked with easel.
Me either.
I'm assuming that's a GRBL machine. Let's see. I do have an error sheet for GRBL. And let me look that up and see if I can find that. Okay. There it is. GRBL alarms. And looks like error 5, probe fail. So it's not going to be a probe fail. The other one can be a setting is disabled. Homing cycle failure. Homing is not enabled in the settings. So you have a conflict going on in the machine where your settings in what he's using candle. I'm not sure what the control. Candle's a design software, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Candle and easel both are, I believe.
Okay. Whatever firmware is running the machine, it's not set up to acknowledge that there's a homing sequence. And so there's a conflict. You're sending a signal to it, but it's not ready to accept it. The machine itself may not have a homing cycle on it. I don't know if the 3018 has a homing sequence on it.
I don't know anything about that machine at all.
So that's all the questions we have in the queue.
So yeah, sincerely apologize for my misspelling. It is not a PWN Sprindle. It is a PWN Spindle.
Sprindle.
My fingers are running away from me when I'm trying to type, so I'm sorry for that. Yeah, I was letting you guys get through all those questions. That way I wouldn't have to sift through 1,000 hashtags when we got our giveaway going. Like all of you, I don't know. I don't know where she is, so we'll go ahead and get this giveaway underway.
I wanted to answer Kenneth, the T-tracks. Yes, they are screwed to the table. When you get T-tracks from IDC Woodcraft, we send the screws with it, and they are screwed to your MDF table with 2 foot, 3 foot, and 4 foot pieces. All right, so Julianne is here. She was taking over the show.
Yeah, as best I can.
All
right, so for those of you who have not been around, we have a lovely Wednesday night giveaway, and all you have to do is be on YouTube and enter this code as you see it on your screen, #, hashtag, whatever you might call it, and all. So our giveaway this week is we are generously giving away 2 ball nose down cuts, 1/4 inch.
Oh,
so, yeah.
That's what they picked out today.
Yep. 2 lucky people get to have a 1/4 inch ball nose down cut. And those are coated and beautiful and wonderful.
Okay,
and they come with a free maze file that Garrett's been showing off, that maze.
Yeah. Okay. So to tell you a little bit about the CNC router bit that Juliana is so generously giving away, costing me money. Let's see. So we know that generally when you get your ball nose bits, they're upcut ball nose bits, and so I can't stand it because they give so much tear out. And so I'm going to switch the screen for just a minute and show you what she is talking about that she is giving away. So we're going to go there. We're going to go there, and it's a down cut ball nose end mill right there. This leaves like beautifully clean cuts. So you can, you can see this guy right here. Imagine making this guy and having to sand all that with it, because that's cut with the ball nose. All those grooves are cut with the ball nose. It makes the marble run through there really nicely as opposed to a flat cut. And that upcut ball nose is going to tear the crap out of it. So I came up with the downcut ball nose 1/4 inch, and you get that marble maze with it. And we send you a ball bearing with it too for your marble maze. So you get the file. I send you the G code. You got instructions. It tells you exactly what tools and materials to use. All right, Julianne, sorry, I just overran you. Go ahead.
It's all good. All good.
So
I have a rambunctious cat, so.
Yep, enter the hashtag in for a chance to win it.
All right. So you only have to enter it once, and let's see, Richard Brooks, it looks like you misspelled it. So if you want to go ahead and try to re-enter that the right way, you're good.
Do you see why I have Julianne as an administrator? She caught that to make sure you get that put back in right. That was good. That was wild. Oh, Jace is on board too. What's going on, Jace? Yeah, I'm going to be showing his vacuum table here in about a week in a video. Start working on that in a week. I love that vacuum table, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'll have one before too long for the Winfinity's table. The insert.
He's got made. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll have those here hopefully very shortly. The inserts for the Winfinity QCW table.
Yeah, he's got a setup specifically for the Winfinity. I guess it was requested by Winfinity, but
yes,
it can be used on any 4x. I think any 4x8 machine now.
It is. Yeah, the Elite Foreman that I have. Yep, I'll be getting those hopefully in a week or two.
Okay. So, folks, the hashtag you're seeing there is for we're giving away 2 bits. That sounds kind of cheesy. It just costs you 2 bits, right? We're giving away 2 bits. 2 down cut, quarter-inch ball nose is what Julianne and Liberty have decided on. And you will get the file with it, which would be cool. I didn't say hi to Ellen. Hi, Ellen.
Okay, so we've got 203 entries. I'm going to go ahead and do the first drawing. If you guys haven't got that little hashtag in there, then you still have some time. But we're going to go with our first one.
All right, here we go. This is so much fun.
Don't get excited until you see the confetti.
All right. Vincent Lamo. Vincent. We'll just go with Vincent.
How did you pronounce it, Garrett? All right, writing that one down.
Yeah, congratulations, Vince.
Okay.
This is such a cool way to win something.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Okay. Any last minute hashtag entries? Do it now. I will give you one more minute while I tell Vincent how to get his lovely ball nose down cut. So what you're going to do is head on over to idcwoodcraft.com and you will go to our contact us page and then just put Wednesday winner. And then I'll need your name, your address, your email, all that information. And then we'll get it sent out to you. Oh, we got some last minute people.
Wait, what?
I said we're getting some last minute people.
Oh, we are, yeah. Yeah, you only need to put it in once because they're still holding the info. So.
Yep. All right. At 9:37 p.m., I will hit this button.
So precise.
Type fast.
And Spindle warm up. Robert says warm up 600 RPM for 3 minutes, 6,000 RPM.
Right. Actually, now I'm like anxiously waiting for 9:37.
How do I countersink the bolt to the track? The bolts, the holes that are in the track are already countersunk. We got screws in the, so it's flush.
All right. Here we go for our second one.
All right.
Round and round it goes.
Ed Appleton. Woo! It's got to suck for those people when you get really close and it goes slow and her name stands on there. Oh, it's me, Ed won. Congratulations, Ed. You won that.
Congratulations.
Yes. All right. And same deal, Ed. Head on over to idcwoodcraft.com, get your info in there, and I will keep an eye out for it. So, fun stuff.
So cool. So much fun. So, let's see. So, first of all, folks, make sure you subscribe to Greg's channel. That will be listed in the description of the video. And give us a thumbs up here for taking the time. Things we've talked about in the video are linked down below in the description of the video. And did we ever get the thing fixed for the comments where they weren't showing up after the video?
I think I did.
Nope.
I hope. I don't know. I'll go back and look to make sure. I'm pretty sure I got that taken care of.
All right. And thank you, Greg, for taking some time with us.
Anytime.
Sharing again. We'll get you back on board again.
Hopefully soon, in a couple of months.
Yep. Greg, what kind of videos, what are some of the videos you've put out recently on your channel?
I put one out not terribly long ago. I've got one coming out. I answered somebody in the comment a while ago. They asked about lasers. Opt Laser has actually sent me a 45-watt laser that goes on the Onefinity machine. I've got a video I've got to do for them. Hopefully in the next few weeks. I'm going to have a ton of content for the new shop because I'm building everything new in the new shop, and they're working hard to get that thing up, and I'm hoping to be up and in it by the end of July. So,
okay,
super exciting.
All right, 7:00 tomorrow. I'll be live with Andy Bird We do have a couple other things going on though, don't we? We've got another, we're doing a daytime live, right? Is that scheduled?
Yep, at the end of the month on the 3rd. Hold on. Let me get my handy dandy notebook here. Yes, on the 30th, we will have a live that will be 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So,
And who's that with?
James Dean.
James Dean. Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll be doing talking about the smaller machines, the 3810s and stuff, because he's done quite a bit of content on that. So he's in England, so we're doing that on a special time for him. All right, folks, we are going to check out. Thank you again for hanging out with us for another Wednesday evening. It's good to be back after a week off. I felt very guilty for not being here and it's just want to be there. I even got a couple messages. What happened? Are you okay? And Greg, thanks for jumping on board. And yep, we'll talk to you very shortly. And folks, remember, we got a bit coming out that you're going to want. Kind of limited edition too. It's not something that's, yeah. Anyway, okay. We will talk at you later. See y'all, folks. Have a good evening.